Have you ever waited for something so long that you started to wonder if it was just a myth? For years, Nikon shooters have watched the world obsess over speed. We have seen the Z8 and the Z9 dominate the headlines with their blistering frame rates. We have seen them conquer the worlds of sports and wildlife photography. But while those flagship cameras were taking the spotlight, a specific group of photographers felt left behind. I am talking about the landscape, studio, and commercial photographers. They have been sitting in the waiting room for a long time. They watched Sony drop the massive A7 IV with its incredible resolution. They watched Canon roll out the R5 Mark II. All the while, Nikon purists have been asking one simple question. Nikon, where is our high-resolution king? Well, the silence is finally breaking. The wait is almost over. The leaks we are seeing right now for the Nikon Z7 III are not just exciting. They are game-changing. They suggest that Nikon hasn't just been sitting on its hands. They have been quietly engineering a completely different kind of beast. This isn't just another camera update. Today, we are tearing down the curtain on what might be the most important release for photography purists in 2026. If you care about extreme detail, if you live for flawless color science, and if you refuse to compromise on image quality, you cannot afford to miss this. This is the story of the Nikon Z7 III. Let's get straight to the elephant in the room. Why has this camera taken so incredibly long to arrive? To understand the delay, you have to look at what Nikon has been doing with its lineup. The Nikon Z8 was a massive runaway success. It essentially changed the market by offering flagship Z9 specs in a smaller, more affordable body. Then came the Z6 III, which took the hybrid crown with its partially stacked sensor. Nikon had to be incredibly careful with the timing of the Z7 III. If they released it too soon or with the wrong specs, it would have been lost in the shadow of the Z8. They needed to figure out exactly who this camera is for. And the answer they found is the Purist. The Z8 and Z9 are for speed. They are for the people who need zero blackout and insane video specs. But the Z7 III is being positioned as a premium stills-first powerhouse. This is a camera built for the photographer standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon at sunrise. It is for the artist waiting for that one perfect second of light. So, how does Nikon achieve this? It all comes down to the sensor. This is the most fiercely debated rumor in the community right now. For a long time, we expected Nikon to simply reuse the 45-megapixel sensor found in the Z8. But the latest intelligence suggests something far more ambitious. Rumors are pointing heavily toward a massive resolution bump. We are looking at a 61-megapixel or even a 67-megapixel back-illuminated CMOS sensor. There are even whispers of an 80 to 90-megapixel prototype being tested. However, the 67-megapixel range is the most likely reality for the final production unit. Why does this matter so much? Because a 67-megapixel sensor absolutely destroys the 45-megapixel ceiling. It puts Nikon directly toe-to-toe with the highest-end competitors on the market. But here is the most crucial part of the leak. The rumors indicate that the Z7 III will not feature a fully stacked sensor. Now, before you think that is a downgrade, listen closely. This is actually a brilliant move. Fully stacked sensors are built for speed. They push data off the chip instantly. But that speed often comes with a tiny compromise in base dynamic range and noise performance. By using a non-stacked or partially stacked sensor, the Z7 III can focus entirely on one thing: maximizing image quality. We are talking about a base ISO of 64. Some rumors even suggest it could go as low as ISO 32. This would deliver an unprecedented 15+ stops of dynamic range. Imagine shooting a high-contrast landscape. You have deep, dark shadows and a blazing bright sky. The Z7 III will allow you to recover details in those shadows and protect your highlights like never before. You will be able to push and pull your raw files in post-production without seeing ugly noise or color banding. This is why landscape and architectural photographers are going to flock to this camera. Let's put this into perspective. The Sony A7 IV has been the king of resolution for a while. If Nikon delivers a 67-megapixel sensor with a base ISO of 32, they aren't just competing. They are taking the crown for dynamic range and color depth. Furthermore, if Nikon includes the pixel shift multi-shooting mode, this camera could generate images over 240 megapixels. Imagine the detail in a fine art print or a massive billboard campaign. Of course, a sensor like this demands flawless optics. If you put a cheap, soft lens in front of 67 megapixels, the sensor will only show you the flaws of the glass. This is where Nikon has a massive advantage. The Nikon Z mount has an incredibly wide diameter and a short flange distance. This has allowed them to create some of the sharpest lenses in history. The S-line lenses like the 50mm f/1.2 or the 14 to 24mm f/2.8 were over-engineered years ago. They were literally built for this moment. They were built to resolve massive megapixel counts that didn't even exist yet. But don't think this camera will be slow just because it isn't a speed camera. We expect the Z7 III to be powered by the X7 processor, or potentially even a new X8. This means it will inherit the incredible brain of its bigger brothers. You will get Nikon's industry-leading AI autofocus. It will recognize eyes, animals, birds, cars, and planes instantly. Even if you are shooting portraits with a very shallow depth of field, that autofocus will nail the eye every single time. The 3D tracking will be sticky and reliable. For burst shooting, you can expect around 10 frames per second with a mechanical shutter. That is plenty for a high-resolution landscape or studio tool. Now let's talk about the build. Nikon has always been the king of ergonomics. We expect the Z7 III to resemble the newly refined chassis of the Z6 III. It will have a deep, comfortable grip and a premium magnesium alloy construction. This camera is built to survive. If you are in a freezing drizzle in Iceland or a dusty desert in Nevada, you can trust this body. It is weather-sealed to handle the most brutal conditions. One of the biggest upgrades we anticipate is the electronic viewfinder. It will likely be a high-brightness, high-resolution EVF that makes manual focusing a joy. And then there is the stabilization. When you shoot at 67 megapixels, even the slightest handshake can ruin a photo. Nikon knows this. That is why the Z7 III is rumored to feature an 8-stop in-body image stabilization system. It will also include Nikon's Focus Point VR technology. This means the camera prioritizes stabilization around your chosen focus point, not just the center of the frame. For storage, the Z7 III will feature dual card slots. You will get one CFexpress Type B slot for fast performance and one UHS-2 SD card slot for backups. This is the perfect setup for professionals who cannot afford to lose a single file. So when can you get it? Current intelligence points to a late 2026 release. Nikon is taking its time to make sure this sensor is perfect. As for the price, it is expected to sit between the Z6 III and the Z8. A price of around $3,499 in the US market seems very likely. My best opinion on this product is simple. The Nikon Z7 III represents a return to form. In a world where every camera is trying to be a video camera or a vlogging tool, Nikon is making something for the photographers. This is a specialized tool for people who value the art of a single perfect frame. It's not trying to do everything. It's trying to do one thing better than anyone else. If the leaks about the 67 megapixel sensor and the ISO 32 base are true, this will be the best landscape camera ever made. It is a bold statement from Nikon. If you found this deep dive valuable, then you are a true gearhead like us. What are your thoughts on that massive sensor? Is 67 megapixels exactly what you need? Or is 45 megapixels still the sweet spot for you? I want to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. I read every single one of them. If you liked the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on the future of photography. This has been Tap Tech. Keep shooting, stay creative, and we will see you in the next one.